Meantime, the gunman behind a heinous New York murder breaks 3 decades of silence in an exclusive prison interview from Sullivan County. This comes as the relatives of his young victim prepare for an emotional confrontation with the justice system. Here's our senior reporter Tara Rosenblum with her report behind bars tonight.
Nearly 30 years ago, a young gas station attendant in Ridge kissed his family goodbye and showed up here for the night shift. But 26-year-old Dennis Folk would never make it back home.
Dennis Folk was shot in the head during a robbery back in 1993.
Matthew Svanberg is the gunman who pulled the trigger.
We're right over here.
We recently sat down with him behind bars at the Woodburn Correctional Facility. It's his first time ever being interviewed.
Why now?
I have never been able to give back something.
And at first, he struggles to contain his emotions.
You know, just living with the fact that of what you did was very hard. You know, the values that I grew up with counter to everything that, you know, I did that day.
So how did Svanberg go from being raised by a large upper middle class family in St. James
My mother was an interior decorator. My father was a builder in the Hamptons.
to becoming inmate number
00A5433.
with a 25 years to life prison sentence?
My life took a dramatic change when I had a bad car accident when I was 17 years old. I lost my eyelid. You know, I was insecure, but I used drugs and alcohol to build my confidence level up. And once I started doing that, it got out of control to a point where my family threw me out of the house, and I lived in an abandoned house.
Svanberg told me that's when he started burglarizing small businesses to fuel his drug addiction, landing him at this gas station in Ridge after a long night of partying back in 1993.
I yelled at the guy to give me the money, and the guy turned around and charged towards me. And when he charged towards me, I panicked and fired the gun, and I took his life.
If Dennis's family was watching right now, what would you like to say to them?
I would say that I'm sorry. I mean, there's nothing. I wish I could take that place. If and I feel horrible. I know I should never have put them through trial. I should have took responsibility.
As we listened to his words, we couldn't help but wonder how the family of Dennis Folk would react to what he had to say.
The whole thing is scripted.
Well, he's lying.
Turns out his words offered them little comfort.
All he thinks of him is himself. And the way to get himself out of jail is to say he's sorry.
They told us the agony they feel with his first parole hearing approaching is just as intense as it was the day they lost Folk.
It's just something I'll never get over.
Folk's younger brother even started a petition that already has 1,000 signatures urging the parole board to keep Svanberg behind bars.
The system's totally broken.
Meantime, back in prison, Svanberg told us he's fighting to be a better man and fully committed to helping young people make better choices.
If there's anything that I could say that would help somebody is to think before you touch a gun.
But he knows none of it can bring back Dennis.
And I don't know that I'll ever move on, because how can you? You know, he doesn't get a chance to move on.
He gets a second chance. My brother, there's no second chance. I got to go visit him at a cemetery.
Tara Rosenblum, News 12.
The State Corrections Department tells News 12 a decision on Svanberg's parole will be made within 2 weeks.